Hello? Hello? You don't hear? I don't hear it in here. Hello? Hello? No. Do you hear it? No. Try your, President Harrison, can you try your microphone?
Good evening. Good evening.
Hello? No, this one is.
Hello? Now it is.
Okay.
Did I tell you that Trustee Johnson had dental
Hello?
work, so she will not
Now
be
it
here?
is.
Trustee Johnson had dental work, 2 hours of dental work, so she won't be here. Oh, wow. Yeah, but we are moving forward. Yep. She will not be here this evening. Good evening. I would like to call this meeting to order. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. Tonight we will be interviewing 3 candidates. Nope. Yep, I had to slow it down. I need a motion to accept the agenda.
So move to
I have-
accept the agenda.
Yes, I have a motion from trustee Shola Barber. I need a second.
Second.
I have a second from trustee McGlynn. Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Shola Barber?
Yes.
Trustee Hill?
Yes.
Trustee McGlynn?
Yes.
And I say yes. Secretary Hill, will you please take attendance?
All trustees are present with the exception of Trustee Johnson, and Dr. Slade is also not present.
Thank you. Are there any persons requesting to address the board? Seeing none, we can get right to other business. Tonight, we will be interviewing 3 candidates for the vacant board position. We appreciate everyone who applied or considered applying for the position. This position is very important to the district as the Board of Education consists of 7 board members who work together to develop policies and the superintendent. The candidates will be given a chance to provide an opening statement. Next, board members will take turns asking 7 questions. At the end, the candidate will be given the opportunity to provide an ending statement. All candidates received the questions prior to tonight's interview so they could be prepared. The interview process is timed at 30 minutes for each candidate to complete the opening statement, answer the questions, and closing statement. Secretary Hill will keep time and provide a 5-minute warning to candidates when they are at 25 minutes. In fairness to all candidates, the time limit will be kept. Board members will be listening carefully to all answers and scoring each part. They may not be able to maintain eye contact as closely due to keeping track of the responses. Following the last interview, board members will take a brief break and then return to the board floor. Board members will tally their responses and report to Secretary Hill, who is keeping track. The points will be reported, and then there will be board discussion. If the vote total is clear with the discussion confirming, there will be a motion to select a board candidate for the vacant position. If there is not a clear top choice, then the board members will be asked to rank in first, second, and third order who they would like in the position. The rankings will be reported and a discussion will follow. If there is a clear top choice, a motion will be made to vote on the candidate to fill the vacant position. If not, the process will continue to rank in the board members until a choice is made. The decision will be made tonight, so a candidate can start as soon as possible. We appreciate everyone who applied and interviewed tonight. The interest in the vacant position is a testament to the community's support for our children. Kalamazoo Public Schools is a great school district, and we continue to move forward seeking all ways to meet the needs of our children. So that's the script. Good evening. I'm really excited that you guys are here. I look forward to hearing from all of the candidates. And we have Miss Yvonne Payton, who will be going first.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's 30 minutes total.
Can you briefly introduce yourself and explain why you're interested in serving on the Board of Education? Please elaborate on your involvement in KPS and any volunteer work within the district.
Yes, I can, and good evening to all of you once again. My name is Yvonne Payton. I was raised and schooled in Tucson, Arizona, attended the University of Arizona there, and began my teaching career there in a mostly Hispanic school, and then moved to the Midwest, and all my other experience has been in the Midwest. I moved to Evanston, Illinois, taught for a number of years in Illinois, and then Kansas City, Missouri, and Covert, Michigan, and Kalamazoo, and Peoria, Illinois. And all of my experiences in education have been in socially, economically diverse, ethnically diverse areas and urban areas. And I want to be on this board because I believe that all children should have the opportunity for a quality education, and I firmly believe that all children should learn to read at and above grade level. I am myself an avid reader, and I want to see children enjoy reading and be able to read. I've done some reading at the Alma Powell Library with some students over there, and it's, just see them delight in the books. And that's what I like to see in kids, the delight in their eyes as they open and read a book or listen to a book. So I'm real advocate of reading. I've done some other things in KPS, like participated in Zoom literacy training with the principal of Lincoln School for a literacy program she was starting for tutoring for grades 1 through 3. Also did some volunteer work at with Girls on the Run and Edison Environmental Science Academy. We set up a Joanne Nash reading room in the library there. And let's see, what else? With the Family Health Center, I've volunteered at their dental days and with their back to school bash. And my church, Allen Chapel, has a Saturday tutoring program, so I've been somewhat involved in that and making sure the children have supplies for that program.
Thank you.
I have the next question. What is the school board member's role and responsibility? And how does that role different from the role of the superintendent or administration?
Well, the role of the board is to set policy, to advise the superintendent and the staff, and Also, the board needs to make decisions about curriculum, about budget, about the school buildings. They also are responsible for approving any staff and building that need to be, sometimes we have to make decisions about what to do with some of our buildings, and the boards are responsible for doing that. The biggest thing that they do is hire the superintendent, evaluate him, and make sure that he's following and monitoring the school programs, because that's how our children will achieve, is if our school programs are being monitored. We have it all in our policies. I read all the policies, and you have all the policies for what needs to happen in a school district, and we just have to make sure that they're adhered to and followed, and that we monitor them, make sure that they are followed. And that's a big job of the board, is to make sure that the policies are monitored and followed also. And it's also, board members should attend workshops and seminars to improve their knowledge of schooling and education. And also to be an advocate for parents, students, staff, and to meet with legislators on occasion and try to make sure we get funding to pay our teachers and improve our buildings and programs.
All right. All right, question 3. Okay. As a trustee on the Board of Education, what is your role in promoting the district and supporting the superintendent?
Well, as a board member, my role would be to be an advocate for the school district, for the superintendent, and you can do that in many ways, by, of course, being active and involved in the community, by attending school events, community events, by celebrating the achievements of students, staff, and administrators, by hosting district-wide events, back-to-school nights, literacy nights. A number of years ago, KPS had a wonderful program called Family Literacy Nights, where schools worked in conjunction with neighborhood churches and things, and where parents and kids would come and learn. And I was happy to be involved in one of those programs at my church again, where we had a site there, and I thought that was a wonderful program for parents and kids to work with KPS people and improve the literacy of students. So that was, I think, an excellent statement about KPS and what it's doing for families and kids in the community. And also, school board members can advocate for the district and the superintendent by writing articles in newsletters or newspapers, by listening to the concerns of parents, encouraging and monitor parent participation, visit schools, and attending local state meetings and the Michigan School Board Association meetings and things like that.
I have number 4. As a board member, you'll be working in a team environment. Tell us about a time you worked with a group of individuals with different views and collaborated to create consensus.
Well, if you work in schools, you know you always have different views on a staff. Discipline comes to mind here, because in schools, when kids do things that break the rules, the first thing that comes to mind sometimes is suspend them. And we had a number of discussions on alternatives to suspension, trying to think of some other ways that we could discipline the kids without sending them home. So the staff and I had many discussions, and we did some research into the merits of other things other than out-of-school suspension. And what we discovered was that kids lose a lot of time and they lose a lot of learning when they're out of school and out of the building. So we came to a consensus that we would try alternative program of in-school suspensions where the kids would be in school, they could still learn, and that was a decision the staff and I made together.
Thank you. I also have the next one, since we have a missing board member. What should be done to improve student achievement so that all of our students can take advantage of post-secondary opportunities?
We're so fortunate here in Kalamazoo to have that Kalamazoo Promise, and getting our kids to the point where they have a foundation, a strong foundation, so that they can take advantage of those opportunities by making sure they read on or above grade level, by making sure we provide interventions for those that do not read on or above grade level, by making sure that kids that have IEPs that we follow those IEPs so those kids are also learning at the level they should learn. We should also make sure that high school students are following the high school curriculum for the Michigan Merit High School curriculum, that attendance, we keep our attendance up, and I know that you've had a strong push on attendance in this district, and it's to be commended because getting kids in school, they can't learn if they're not here, so that's certainly important. Also, making sure the accelerated programs like the AT program and the Math and Science Academy, the advanced programs, we need to make sure we get more students into those programs so that they're available, the opportunities are available for everyone. Those are some of the things that we can do to get students ready for post-secondary education.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Please elaborate on your experience and background working with diverse members of our community.
All of my experiences professionally and volunteer are with diverse groups. On a volunteer basis, KIA, where I've been a docent and worked with the arts program in the park and the holiday program as a volunteer, and the offshoot of that is the blank here. I'll get back to that. It's part of KIA, but it's a separate arm of KIA. And it's where we go to the lectures and attend the lectures and have the book discussions and things like that. And in my neighborhood, we have a book club that we participate in with the neighbors in our community, diverse. Let's see, what do I have here? All of the events that I attend in the school, well, the schools, all the schools are diverse, of course. Your schools are all diverse, and any outings with the schools, the library, Alma Pyle Library, I spent some time volunteering there and working with kids there. Okay.
Thank you.
Ms. Payton, are you willing to prioritize and commit the time necessary to attend school board meetings, state trainings, and other school-related events? And do you have the flexibility to attend special meetings that are required?
Absolutely.
At this time, we welcome your closing statement.
I want to be of service to the community. As I said, I did some reading with kids at the Alma Pyle Library, and I talked about how I would delight in seeing kids read and be better readers, but there was also the instance of kids who were in 3rd and 4th grade and couldn't read at grade level. And that was like a tragedy, to have these kids coming to the library because it's a neighborhood place to come, and then not being able to read the books there. So I think, and I thought then, when I was doing that particular day, there must be something I can do, even if it's just a little thing on a personal level, and maybe serving on a board where it would impact large numbers of staff, students, and administrators would help make sure that some of those kids get some interventions and get some better reading skills in place. So I want, and if I'm appointed to this board, I would be an excellent advocate, I think, for kids in the community, because I'm involved in a lot of community organizations, and those ladies that you see back there are members of one of them, Delta Sigma Theta sorority, and I'm happy they're here. And also, one of them was the first hire I made when I was principal in Covert Elementary School, and she's now one of your principals here. So that was a good thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We appreciate you coming and interviewing with us. We will be making a decision this evening, and we'll be letting you know either way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's always a little hysterical while we play music for people coming up or whatever.
We will take a short break until our next interview arrives. Good evening, Mr. Boyd. Thank you for joining us. We would like to have you briefly introduce yourself and explain why you're interested in serving on the Board of Education. Please elaborate on your involvement in KPS and any volunteer work within the district that you've done.
Okay, perfect. Well, I want to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to interview for this position, very valued position here in the Kalamazoo County area. First and foremost, I'm a Kalamazoo native and a Kalamazoo public school attendee as well for a large majority of my upbringing within K through 12 through Kalamazoo public school system. So I moved away for 2 years, but for the most part, my whole childhood was here in the Kalamazoo public school system. So that brings utmost importance to me because of knowing, being brought up in this school system, learning the ins and outs, and also being a troubled youth in the system as well. I understand some of the needs and the challenges that may arise within the system, and being able to overcome some of those challenges as a young individual in the school system as well. So being able to talk to the youth and being able to deal with having firsthand knowledge and experience with dealing with some of those experiences that we have in our school district, I think that's of the utmost importance, especially when it comes to understanding and overcoming the challenges that we may see in our district. You also said that's why I really want to do this work. I've been in this work for a very long time, especially in equity and inclusivity as a whole, whether it's in federal government, local government, or a nonprofit, and also as an entrepreneur myself, I do this equity and inclusivity work because I'm very passionate about that work, and I think that needs to roll over into our school systems as a whole as well in KPS, and I want to continue to keep that momentum going. Some of the volunteer work that I do within Kalamazoo County area, I work with the Southwest Michigan First and the Chamber of Commerce to promote a Black and Brown Connect Mixer, where we get communities of color individuals and give them trainings and have speeches and demonstrations to talk about how they can, what kind of challenges they may see in the community, whether it's school, whether it's personal, whether it's workforce related. And we have individuals that can help them with trainings and thoughts on how to overcome some of those challenges, and maybe help them out with resources and things of that nature as well. I also work with Stryker as well in regards to they help fund that quarterly meeting that we have in regards to that. I also work with the Kalamazoo Community Foundation. I'm on the Environmental Justice Committee and board there. We oversee environmental justice grants and funding opportunities that we give out to the Kalamazoo County area. I also do volunteer work with the Kalamazoo chapter of the NAACP. I'm the Environmental Justice Executive Committee chairperson there as well, where I oversee environmental justice concerns for our disadvantaged communities here in the Kalamazoo area.
Thank you.
So I have the next question.
Okay.
Okay. What is a school board member's role and responsibility? It's a two-parter. And how does that role differ from the role of the superintendent or administration?
Well, I know with the board, it's really to develop policies, create that framework that the superintendent's going to follow within the school district. It's also helped with establishing the vision and the goals of our school district as well. And we want to make sure that when we develop these policies and procedures that the superintendent's going to follow, that they're clear and concise, where so he's able to not have not be too confused or not understanding what we're trying to accomplish with these policies that we set forth as well. Another role as a board is to ensure accountability as well. That's a major role that we have. I think on the board, we somewhat serve as a liaison to the community and the superintendent and some of the challenges that we may see in our community and the school as a whole. What's that different from the superintendent is, superintendent oversees administration, also oversees the day-to-day operations, and we're pretty much are the individuals that set up that blueprint that he follows, I would say.
Thank you.
Good evening. As a trustee on the Board of Education, what is your role in promoting the district and supporting the superintendent?
So I think one of the major things I would say was that we need to advocate to the community, also be able to share with the community any achievements that we may have accomplished here at the KPS as well. And one of the major focuses, I would say, was to ensure transparency between the school systems and the community. I think another role would be we would be providing guidance, setting clear goals and expectations as well for the superintendent. That's imperative, and also to work collaboratively to achieve those goals with the superintendent as a whole.
Thank you.
Good evening. I have the next question. As a board member, you'll be working in a team environment. Tell us about a time you worked with a group of individuals with different views and collaborated to create consensus.
Oh, great question. So with my consulting work that I've done within the diversity, equity, and inclusion space, I've been asked to go to a number of organizations to implement and to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion within their workforce. As we all know, there's differing views with that all across the board. So one of my key objectives or ways that I go about that is building buy-in. So a lot of individuals, when they think about this work, more specifically, they think it's all about race. I go in and talk about it. It depends on who I'm talking to, but I bring it to make it more personal and maybe talk about ageism. If it's an older man, I talk about some of the challenges that ageism comes when it comes to hiring practices, where there's someone may be discriminated against in regards to hiring practices. Make it more real for them to build in that buy-in, to understand, and then be able to share how it's unfair for other individuals of other backgrounds as well to be discriminated against in that capacity. And then once I get buy-in, now I have a team of individuals that believe in this work, and we can work together because and the time that I've been in the professional world and even as a youngster, I understand that you will never accomplish longevity or long-lasting change without community or team as well. So being able to get buy-in and have a team behind you to help do this work, even when you're gone, is imperative for longevity.
Thank you. I have the next question too. What should be done to improve student achievement so that all of our students can take advantage of post-secondary opportunities?
Okay. So this is a question I took a while to think about because it's something that it definitely takes strategic thought and strategic thinking to come up with. And I came up with 4 instances for this question. So number 1 would be teacher support and development. We know with technology, things are changing on a regular basis, so being able to invest in maybe trainings or things of that nature for teachers to find effective ways to cater to some of the kids' learning styles nowadays, especially with technology and the advances of technology, and be able to really grab the attention of the students to really engage with them to help them be effective learners and be successful. The number 2 portion of that, I would say, enhancing the curriculum as well. Not being able to think in every student is the same learning style or learn the same way, or if they need to be challenged, maybe the work's a little too easy for them, having an enhanced curriculum that can challenge them and make sure they are set up for success for advance to the next level of school. Number 3 would be community and family engagement. I think you have to really need that buy-in from community and family as a whole, because a lot of our students nowadays are not just dealing with challenges within school, but they're also dealing with challenges after they leave the school as well. So being able to have that community and family engagement and having that buy-in from their family, even after they go to school, that if they need that extra help or if they need mentor or whatever it may be, to make sure they do the best they can in school, and also if they're struggling, be able to know that, bring that to the attention of our staff, and being able to give them the help they need so that we can really set them up for success even after K through 12 as well. And lastly, and I kind of already touched on with, like I said, early intervention, realizing that when kids are when kids are struggling, being able to notice that early and being able to deal with that and move forward and make sure they're set up for success.
Good evening. Please elaborate on your experience and background working with diverse members of our community.
So as an individual that has been born and raised here in the Kalamazoo area, on the north side of Kalamazoo, I've been dealing with diverse populations all my life, especially with living on the north side of Kalamazoo. So doing community engagement, learning what needs that we have in our communities, and hopefully bringing that to the forefront to combat those issues that we do have. When I did leave Kalamazoo for 11th and 12th grade, I moved to a very rural area of Lawton, Michigan, about 30 minutes away, where we were the only family of color. And I also graduated with a class of 60 people, so that was an extreme change of culture, which also gave me a lot of insight in regards to how to navigate not just the culture that I was raised around on the north side of Kalamazoo, but also rural area culture as well, where I've built a long-lasting relationships out there, and still am a strong proponent of that community out there, and do things out there as well to support that school system and that community out there. So I would say I have a background working with a very diverse range. Also, my professional life, I found a lot of professional success in my lifetime. So I've been at executive level, and I've also been at the beginner's level as well, like upbringing. So being able to navigate and talk, and to be able to, what's the word I want to use? Well, pretty much navigate executive level individuals, and also first starting out individuals into the professional world. And like I said, also in the community and professional and personal level as well, dealing with impoverished, dealing with rural, dealing with affluent neighborhoods as well. I have a very large array and diverse background in that capacity.
Thank you.
Mr. Boyd, are you willing to prioritize and commit the time necessary to attend school board meetings, state trainings, and other related events? And do you have the flexibility to attend special meetings as required?
Yes, I do. I do want to throw some caveat in there as well. For me, I have the luxury of not having to work unless I want to. So now I do things that I'm really passionate about, and really truly passionate. This is the type of work that I think needs to be done on a regular basis, and it's imperative to make sure that we're doing it the right way here in Kalamazoo. And as a resident here, or former resident here, just know I'm doing this not because of financial reasons in that capacity. I'm doing it because I'm passionate about, and I really truly believe in the work that's being done here.
Thank you. Those are all of the questions that we have. At this time, if you have a closing statement that you would like to give us, we would receive it.
No, I don't really have a closing statement at the time. I want to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to speak with you all, and to interview for this very important pivotal role within the Kalamazoo area. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. We will be making a decision this evening.
Oh, perfect. All right.
Thank you.
You all.
Can I just ask one
Yes.
clarification? You do live in the city now, though, right?
In the city of Kalamazoo?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Okay. So, unfortunately. In the district?
Yes.
I'm sorry. You're in the KPS school
Yes, I'm in the
district.
district.
Sorry.
Okay.
When you said that, I just wanted to clarify
No.
that you were in the district.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Thank
All
you.
right. Yeah, no problem. A quick question. Do I have to can I stay, or do I have to leave? Can I go back there? Okay. All right, perfect. All right, thank you.
We will take a small break and reconvene at 7 o'clock. Good evening, Ms. Swift.
Good evening.
Thank you for joining us.
Can you guys hear me?
We can a little better now.
Okay.
We are going to go ahead and get started, if that's okay with you.
Yep.
Yes. Can you briefly introduce yourself and explain why you are interested in serving on the Board of Education? Please
yes.
also elaborate on your involvement in KPS and any other volunteer work within the district.
My name is Alicia Swift. I've been a resident of Kalamazoo for about 15 years now. Have 2 middle schoolers in KPS, and very active ever since they started. Been active PTO mom, volunteer at all the activities, events, coaching, a little bit of everything. I feel like anything my kids touch, I end up touching too. So I have met a lot of people within KPS and kind of gotten asked to help with different projects and things like that. So I've just been kind of involved all over the board a little bit.
Thank you.
I've got the next question. We go around. What is a school board member's role and responsibility? It's a two-parter. And how does that role differ from that of the superintendent and administration?
So to me, I would say that the responsibility of a school board is to create the vision and policies and kind of the direction to get there, to the goal. And with that, I feel like there's more detail work that happens behind the scenes, and is kind of handed off to superintendent and staff so that they can act out the vision. And I believe that the school board is there to kind of oversee and have oversight and hold everyone accountable, make sure things are getting done the way that the vision was placed out.
Good evening. My question is, as a trustee on the Board of Education, what is your role in promoting the district and supporting the superintendent?
I would say largely collaboration and advocacy, and a lot of accountability, making sure that everyone is pretty much doing the duties and the all of the different things that are placed out to see the bigger picture and get everything done. So I do think that a lot of those supportive things are, like I said, behind the scenes, and a lot of that stuff is getting the work done and doing those things so that the superintendent can just step in the shoes and be able to carry it out. And I feel like when the board is doing that, it makes it a lot easier to see the support in the community as well.
Good evening. As a board member, you'll be working in a team environment. Tell us about a time you worked with a group of individuals with different views and collaborated to create consensus.
So I feel like I've been involved in so many teams and groups, but I know in particular one that popped in my head was working with an organization that I was a part of, and we had to put on a program, and we were struggling with a timeline. Everyone seemed to have different dates and different times that they wanted to get things done, and so we really had to go down to a vote, and none of it matched my schedule, but I had to kind of take one for the team just because my schedule would not have worked for the majority of people. So anytime you're working on a team, you have to be able to see the bigger picture and take yourself out of the middle of everything in order to be able to accomplish the larger goal.
Thank you. What should be done to improve student achievement so that all of our students can take advantage of post-secondary opportunities?
A big one that I have seen as a parent in KPS is I think for one, parent involvement, anytime that there were parents who were involved, and it's funny because all the schools that my children have attended, we all know each other just because you see familiar faces, and usually when you see those familiar faces, those are the children that are successful. And when the schools offer opportunities for parents to be involved in things, it makes a really big difference. And so I think that's number one. And number two that I have seen, my husband and I are a carpool family, so we pick up a lot of kids every morning and drop off kids after school, and I know that transportation is a huge factor in this county. There's a lot of students who would love to get to school, but they can't. And I think that that is a huge barrier because if you can't get to school, you can't graduate. So I think those are probably the top two things that I can think of.
Good evening. Please elaborate on your experience and background working with diverse members of our community.
So ever since I've lived in Kalamazoo, I've worked for the state of Michigan. I've worked for the Department of Human Services. I took a brief break, and I also worked for the Kalamazoo Nature Center and the Northside Community Association. So I've kind of been placed in a lot of different groups of people and worked with a lot of different people. One of the reasons that my husband and I chose to stay in Kalamazoo is because of the diversity as well. So different groups, clubs, activities that I've been a part of have all been social, economically diverse, as well as culturally diverse. And I do feel like it's very important to have a mixture of minds at the table so that you get a full picture of what you're trying to accomplish.
Thank you.
Mrs. Swift, are you willing to prioritize and commit the time necessary to attend school board meetings, state trainings, and other school-related events? And do you have the flexibility to attend special meetings as required?
So currently, as I said, have two very active middle schoolers as far as athletics and academically. And so I would do my very best to get to the things that I can get to, but I will say that I also do my best to get to all of my children's activities. So I am still learning of a lot of the commitments and time that is needed for this position, and so I will do my best to attend things that need to be attended.
Thank you. That is the last question. We would love to hear a closing statement from you.
First of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here, and also thank you for the email with more information and questions and things like that. But I just wanted to state that my kids have been in KPS since we've been here. I've enjoyed the district. My children love the schools, and I have great relationships with a lot of teachers and staff here, and it's always been a privilege to be able to assist and help them, to be able to help all of these kids excel, and it would be a really cool thing to be able to help on a different level.
Thank you so much for interviewing with us. We will be making a decision this evening.
Thank you.
At this time, trustees, I will allow you the opportunity to score your sheets. After you have finished scoring them, if you pass them down to Jenny so that she can compile the data. I would like to call this meeting back to order. We have tallied the results, and we do have a winner at this time. I would like to open the floor for discussion from the board. Trustee McGlynn.
I just want to say that we had 3 really strong candidates, and I think that we would be in good shape no matter how this went tonight. I just really, really appreciate all 3 of the candidates' support of the district and their thoughtfulness in their answers, and I think we're really lucky that we had this group tonight.
Trustee Shola Barber.
I would just like to add also that in many of their, I'm sorry, am I right? Yeah, I'm on. I would just like to add that many of the answers were so insightful, and obviously they had taken time to either research the district or had been following the district, and that's huge. That's very huge. And there were some statements that came out in the interviews, excuse me, that showed that there was good, strong support for Kalamazoo Public Schools. So I really appreciate that also.
Trustee Hill.
What I appreciated is that every person that came before us had a different story. They all had a little bit of a different insight into KPS, a different experience with KPS, and that is what helped build them to say, hey, I'm going to step up because this is a job I can do. So they believed in the district, they have hands-on experience, and they want to help, and that is like a strong community, so I feel very good about tonight.
Trustee Murphy.
I just also wanted to thank everyone for taking the time to submit the application, to come to the interview, and as the newest elected person, I know it's a lot, so thank you. I really do appreciate you.
And I always get to say everything that everybody else has already said. So before I make this announcement, I too echo what the other trustees have said, and that this was a very strong candidate pool. And because there is an election coming up in November, I would encourage anyone that did not get selected this evening to consider running to join this board, because the skills and the talents and the innovative ideas that you brought forward tonight would be a welcome addition on this board. And with that being said, after the secretary and vice chair were able to tally the results, we would like to announce that Miss Yvonne Payton has been selected to be the next trustee with the Kalamazoo Board of Education. And if she is here and available, we would love to make that announcement to her this evening. We need to make a motion and a vote while they are getting her. Trustee Shola Barber.
I enthusiastically nominate Yvonne Payton as the next trustee of the Kalamazoo Public Schools Board of Education.
I need a second. I have a nomination by Trustee Shola Barber with a second by Trustee Hill to extend an invitation for membership to the board to Miss Yvonne Payton. All in favor? Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Shola Barber?
Yes.
Trustee Hill? Yes. Trustee McGlynn?
Yes.
And I vote yes. And so we will be contacting her and letting her know the news, and we'll be welcoming her on the 18th of July. I need a motion. Or are there any comments by trustees? There's no closed session. The next board meeting will be on the 18th of July. If someone would give a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
I need a second from...
Second.
I have a motion from Vice Chair McGlynn, seconded by Trustee Shola Barber. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned.